I was born in the north of England. My father was an army officer and then a senior policeman for a long time. So we moved around largely in Lancashire, which is north of Manchester. Well, I grew up in an area of England that had been the heartland of the original Industrial Revolution. So you're talking about an area north of Manchester. For people whose geography is not so great on the United Kingdom, you're about 200 miles north of London. You're on the left-hand side going up, at Manchester and Liverpool. As you get there, there is a line of hills going vertically up the country, the Pennines. Lancashire's on the west side, Yorkshire's on the east side. It was down these sides of these hills that the water flows came that gave the power to the original textile mills. I was born immediately after the Second World War. Now in those years, nobody went abroad. People didn't. If you had a holiday, you went to the coast, or you went down to Cornwall, you went south. The last time my father had gone abroad was when he landed on D-Day in the north of France. And he wasn't terribly keen to go back, so they stayed on the island. We did too. I'd already done almost 3 decades of academic work before I arrived, and so my connections with America built up kind of systematically through the late 70s and early 80s. Then I met my wife, who's from New Jersey, and so for the last 25 years we have been a transatlantic family. She was living in England then. We would come back each summer, and by the time we got to the late 90s, we had a son of our own, and there was a strategic decision to be made. Did we want Jonathan to be the American boy in England or the English boy in America? And we thought we would like the second, so we went job hunting and ended up at Wake Forest. I certainly did not expect, I don't even think Eileen expected, that the settling in issues would be as demanding as they were. These are all minor issues, by the way, but I think one of the strange things that you don't anticipate is when people look at you, they assume that because you're a grown-up, you know everything, that you should know. When in fact, when you arrive in a new culture, you don't, So my America for all the years before we came was New Jersey. New Jersey is not like North Carolina in many, many ways. And I still think in some senses, and Eileen's not here to speak for herself, it's been a more difficult transition for her coming into the South. Looking back, it probably was a little bit stressful, but it was always overlaid by this other thing, this terrific adventure. This is really exciting. I'm sure people have very different experiences of being foreign in America. I've always found that being English is a huge advantage here. People seem to automatically assume that you're more intelligent simply because you're English, which of course is not true. And then the issue I assume everybody has to deal with at some point is, do you take citizenship? I put it off for a while because I found my feet, but then I became very keen to become fully American. But when you get into the citizenship route, people are just so nice to you, and the ceremony itself of taking citizenship is a delight. The biggest problem is not to cry. Actually, it's so emotional. In fact, they always ask one of the new people to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. I could not have done it. I was completely choked up. And I couldn't look across the room to my wife, who was absolutely similarly choked up, shall we say. If I say more, she'll probably be cross with me. But it was a very, very emotional moment. And we stood, and there were, I think, there were 300 or 400 people from 60 or 70 countries in that room, all taking citizenship at the same time. And it kind of reminds you what a very special place the United States is. And we are a constructed society.